行くぞはっジェノサイカッタ
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Rugal, and today I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can get a good score with Orochi Leona in guild raid on Lunatic versus Nightmare Geese and against Omega Rugal. Now, this is going to be the most free-to-play way, other than the fact that you're going to have to get Orochi Leona if you're going to use her for this. And Leona, the beautiful thing about the character is her 3PG doesn't get interrupted, right? That's a big thing about her, not to mention all the damage. I mean, we talked about her damage. It's just absolutely insane. And on Lunatic against Nightmare Geese, you're going to have shock damage. And against Omega Rugal, you're going to have Starlight. So it's going to be very important to have both those kinds of dots whenever you're facing this. And, you know, you're going to get 4 keys per day, right? You're going to get 4 of these keys per day. So if you can get a good enough score in 2 keys on Lunatic, like if you can get 360 million on Lunatic, then and do that twice, then you're going to be able to get these boxes, these imprint stone boxes, which are very nice because you can actually get double attack stones in these things for whatever type color, for lots of different types of dot. You can get these hammers, you get unpairing kits, you get capsules. It's just a very rewarding game mode. So it's really important to do the best you can. And as far as the teams that we're going to use, the first team that I'm going to show you against Omega Rugal, right, we're going to need Starlight. Well, that's the reason we're going to have Elizabeth. Now, my face is actually in the way here, but my striker is actually Ash there. And Ash is a really great striker because he actually decreases the cooldown for Elizabeth, right? So whenever you do your super, your ultimate, you're going to have your your skills available again, so you can start rotating through them, right? The decreased skill cooldown by 1 second, the increased attack is very, very nice. Not to mention a heal, right? That heal is going to be very, very important for a character like Elizabeth. Now, Elizabeth, there's a couple good things going on about this character. One, her leadership increases defense fighter attack by 45% and PG rate by 20%. And guess what? Leona is a defensive character. So Elizabeth has a leadership that's going to buff herself and buff Leona, as well as she actually has really good survivability. She does have Starlight damage on her first skill, but she also has a decreased damage received by 60%. And along with a heal from Ash, right, you're going to have a lot of really great survivability against Omega Rugal using this character. She also has shock damage. You know what? I didn't even use this character for shock damage. I guess I could have against Nightmare Geese, but in the run you're going to see against Nightmare Geese, I actually did a little bit different method. I did not use Elizabeth. I just used her for Omega Rugal, but this is something to keep in mind. Against Nightmare Geese, I mean, I don't know, man. It'd be pretty tough because Elizabeth's supers can get interrupted, so I don't know. I think maybe the team that I have set might be better, but we'll see. But as far as, you know, imprint stones, I just got 1 double attack stone with Starlight on it. And you really don't even need this. I mean, really the most important thing is just to apply Starlight from Elizabeth. And as far as the cards, we're just going to run the KS set, just regular cooldown cards, nothing transcended, nothing like that. My fame system is not leveled up. These characters are not buffed up. They're not getting any extra CP. The only CP that I have available here is from my cards, from the codex, and that's it. And as far as Leona here, Leona, I mean, she's, you know, got pretty much almost max capsules, and then she's got, you know, her 3 stones, and we're just going to run a KS set and cooldown cards on her too. No transcendent cards, no special cards, nothing like that, and then her 3 PG, right? That's it. And actually for a striker for Leona, I actually used Karate for her striker because he's actually going to give her extra attack, right? I didn't use Ignits. I tried to make this as free to play as possible. So I didn't want to use a bunch of BS and a bunch of SS characters. So the only BS character that we're going to be using is Leona, and that's it. So Elizabeth and Ash, and then Leona and Mr. Karate for a striker. And as far as the run against Nightmare Geese, what I would do is I'd had Ginnets here in the leadership, right? And we actually have Mecha Ginnets there as a striker. Now, Mecha Ginnets actually offers, a heal for Ginnets, and that's going to be very, very important because even though Ginnets, you know, I'm going to be using the 3PG from BS Ginnets, it can still be interrupted during guild raid. Now, if you're using BS Ginnets, then it won't get interrupted. It's really funny how Netmarble does this, but that heal is going to be very, very important for Ginnets' survivability. I mean, obviously, when you play him, you want to try to avoid taking any damage as much as possible. And then for Leona, you see that I have Lady Yashiro. And Lady Yashiro is really important because she offers 10 seconds of shock. And we're going to need that for Nightmare Geese. I mean, whenever you're playing against Nightmare Geese, you want to do as much damage as fast as possible to break the meter. That way he's just sitting there being stunned, right? Because when he's free, he can do his Raging Storm and he can do an insane amount of damage to you. And the beautiful thing about this is Guinness's leadership actually buffs up Leona as well. Now, something I want you to keep in mind here is the card sets that I'm going to be using for Guinness. If this thing ever loads up, we got this black screen here. Jesus. But as far as the stones, or as far as the cards, we're using the Serena set, right? We are going to be using the 3PG, and Netmarble did give us a lot of free rubies. A lot of people more than likely are going to have this 3PG. They might not have BS Guinness, but they're going to have this 3PG more than likely. I know some of you might not. Maybe your luck was complete crap, and the banner's luck or rates were absolutely abysmal. But anyways, I digress. We're going to be using the Shermie option card. And this option card is really important because it's going to deal shock damage equal to 8% of attack to the enemy upon landing a critical hit on an active skill. And Guinness is amazing for this because, one, he has a critical rate buff on his first skill, right? This critical rate buff by 12% is massive, right? Especially with all the hits that he does. On top of the 3PG, the BS Guinness's 3PG, that gives you an extra 3.6% critical rate whenever you're doing that 3PG and the extra increased attack. So we're going to be applying shock damage by using the Shermie option card from Guinness. And then Leona, we're just going to be using Lady Yashiro as a striker. Man, these loading screens are absolutely terrible. Jesus. So I'll go ahead and I'll pull up the first run. We're going to do the first run against Omega Rugal. And we're starting off with Elizabeth, right? Elizabeth's in the leadership, and we're just going to be using Elizabeth and Leona. Guinness is on the team, but you'll see that I'm not going to be using him. There we go, there we go. Broke the meter, no problem. Do our default here, and then we're going to run through, and we're going to do our 3PG. And then we're going to switch back to Elizabeth and apply some Starlight. There we go, run through some skills, apply some Starlight, and do her 5PG, right? And, you know, I only have one Imprint Stone on Elizabeth. You really don't need it, but it will help because you'll be able to break the meter a little bit faster on Rugal whenever you're applying that Starlight. Let's go. And if she does take damage, right, even though she got the decreased damage received on her second skill, if she does take damage, you always have a heal. And you can see that I am using Mr. Karate as a striker for Leona because he does give that extra 15%. It'd really be better if I would bring him in like I just did there. And yeah, guys, I mean, this is how you do it, you know. I mean, and I'm sure there might be other ways. I mean, Elizabeth isn't the only character that has Starlight that's free to play in the game. It's just she has a good leadership that's buffing up Leona. And plus, since she has that decreased damage received on her second skill, she's actually very ideal for doing this. And the beautiful thing about this is these are only two characters. I mean, if you have a Rocha Leona, right? Elizabeth is always available in the game. If you get Elizabeth and you just get her awakened one time, just awaken one time, then you could do this, right? You could probably do this. And it might, you know, for a newer player, maybe it'll take you 3 keys, maybe it'll take you 4 keys, but you'll be able to get the maximum rewards from Lunatic, right? You'll be able to get those juicy double attack imprint stones, which, you know, are RNG, but still, you can get double attack stones and be well on your way to really buffing your characters to do so much better in this game, to progress so much faster in the game. Oh my god. And this was honestly pretty damn easy. I was practicing this last night, did quite a few runs just to see how we could do, trying to set up a little team here. And yeah, no problem. Elizabeth actually can break that meter pretty quick. Not too shabby, not too shabby at all. And you really want to be using your default as much as possible to try to delay the timer. Now there we took a little bit of damage, but no big deal. No big deal. We apply a little Starlight. We switch to Leona, right? We're going to break the meter, apply a bunch of damage. And then whenever we switch back to Elizabeth, we'll just use Ash's heal up Elizabeth a little bit, and we'll be completely fine. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about playing with characters with all this, you know, survivability with the decreased damage received. It really does make a big difference. I mean, I could definitely use other leaderships. There's other leaderships that would be better. But I just try to make this as free to play as possible, right? You only got to level up, 2 characters. One character just to level 10. The other character, I mean, really you want Leona about A3 to be perfectly honest. But I mean, really if she was A2, I bet you anything, probably even A1, she probably still could do this depending on the level of your codex, how much CPU you actually have on your account from your characters being leveled up. Now there, I could have just hit her default. That's really what I should have done. But it's all good. It's all good. Well, that would have been a lot better. Used to use the default to break the meter, but it's fine. Okay? And you don't got to worry about Leona taking any damage at all. You don't need a healer for her or nothing because of her freaking shield, right? And she's got that shield throughout her entire HP pool, so you don't have to worry about her dying. She will just last the test of time. And you guys can see, man, I've hit 450 million already. 450 million. Right? So, like, even on an account that isn't as developed as mine, doesn't have a codex as much as mine, and again, my fame system is not leveled up. These characters are not getting buffed up by that thing at all. So you newer players, you're going to be able to hit 300, 350 million doing this. I almost guarantee you. Almost guarantee, especially with a little practice, get a decent run in, and if you transcend your cards, it's gonna be even easier because you're gonna have more CP. If you use certain cards to add more attack, it's gonna make a big difference. And 500 million run, my friends. Right? Almost 510 million against Lunatic, against Omega Rugal. Right? Freaking girl getting it done, my friends. Oh my God, I love it so much. So now let me pull up the run against Nightmare Geese. So now we're going to be using Guinness in the leadership, right? Another thing that I didn't mention is Guinness's leadership applies to Orochi clan members, which Leona is. And he offers that extra 30% increased attack and more critical rate. So, having the Sturmy option card on Guinness, along with the 12% critical rate from his first skill, is stacking on top of each other. So that means we're just doing lots and lots of shock damage, having that Sturmy option card on Guinness, right? And you can see how it's working out, right? As soon as Geese gets ready to do his attacks, we go into our 3PG. And we're going to switch back to Guinness. And look at that meter. Meow! That meter's just going down, right? It's just going down. And really, if my Guinness was built even stronger, we would do even better. I mean, obviously, on my account, I'm not going to be doing this, but yeah, and you just fluctuate between 2 characters in this. And you can do pretty damn well, right? Look at this. Now, whenever you do the 3PG, Geese will still apply darkness on the ground, right? But because of Leona's survivability, you don't really have to worry so much about her dying. Well, actually, it did interrupt it. Never mind. It did interrupt it that time. I thought there were times where it didn't. Maybe it does interrupt it. Huh. Okay, never mind. Maybe I was wrong about what I said. Now, notice I'm not using Lady Yashiro. I'll bring in Lady Yashiro right now. We'll do our 3PG. And Lady Yashiro's 10-second shock damage is being applied. And we're going to be able to break the meter right now. And boom. And now we can just spam Leona's skills. Piece of cake, man. Piece of cake. Do tons and tons of damage here. All right, we'll do our 3PG, and then we'll switch back to Guinness. Works like a champ. So, I mean, if you have Guinness's 3PG, right? If you have that option card that's always available in the game, right? Then you're going to be able to do this. Really, what I should have done here is I should have just went through Guinness's skills, because we was breaking the meter fast enough that we could have easily done that instead of just using his 3PG. And boom, we break the meter, right? And then we got Mega Guinness for a heal. And what I'm doing is I'm stalling the timer right now because I want Lady Yashiro's striker bonus to be available. I want to be able to tag her in. Wait. There we go. We'll bring in Lady Yashiro, and then we'll do our 3PG, and then we'll break that meter down. Honestly, this worked out pretty good. This really didn't take me very many tries at all, maybe a couple tries. Probably could improve it, probably could do even better, to be honest, as far as the score. Now I'm trying to get to her 3PG because her default can actually be interrupted, and her 3PG will actually interrupt Geese and keep him from applying darkness, which we want to make sure happens here. And, oh, see, we got a little screwed there. If we would have had a super armor card, we could have done even better. And by the way, you know, some of them super armor cards that we have available in the game, because they offer the extra attack, you know, we just got the one that just offers extra damage to boss syndrome fighters, which won't work on Guinness because he isn't a boss syndrome fighter, although it would work on his BS version. There are other super armor cards that offer extra attack whenever you're tagging in, and those would actually be really helpful in these kinds of situations. But I mean, we're going to hit 500 million on Lunatic against Nightmare Geese. Right? I mean, look at this. Bring in Lady Yashiro. Apply, well, maybe not 500 million, maybe a little bit less actually. Maybe about 450 million. Oh, get him, girl, get him, girl, get him, girl. Hit our default. Yeah, about 450 million. So yeah, almost 460 million in that run, just using 2 characters. So for both of these teams that I'm using, I'm just using 2 characters, right? Now, one of them, you know, obviously against Nightmare Geese, you're going to need a 3PG for Guinness here. I mean, it's really going to make a big difference. I mean, you could use this 5PG, but it's going to be a lot easier with this 3PG for sure. And the beautiful thing about this is, like, say you're leveling up your fame system, right? Well, in your fame system, you know, if you was to level up your green fighters, right, you're going to level up Elizabeth and you're going to level up Guinness. You can add extra attack, HP, defenses, and penetration. And then you could also, you know, level up your purple for Leona. You'd only have to level up 2 of them. Now, you know, I always would recommend whenever you're doing a fame system to kind of split all these amongst each other. I haven't leveled up mine because I always like showing you guys runs without, you know, the fame system being applied. So I could do way more damage if I was to level this up compared to what I'm actually doing now. So hopefully this will help some of you out there as far as maybe trying to do well in Guild Raid. Maybe you have a Rocha Leona, but you just don't have any rubies. Maybe you have her to A1, A2, A3, but you just don't have any rubies to really go any further. Maybe you can't get BS Guinness. Maybe you have a 3PG, and even if you don't have a 3PG, you can still use her on Lunatic against Omega Rugal if you just have Elizabeth on the team. So again, hopefully it will help somebody out there. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT+7 time. The link will be in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.